Shalom. My name is Israeli Iluz. My testimony is one who grew up in a very religious family and tried to sustain righteousness and to be a good man through keeping the law. Much of my life was a failure to keep the law, to keep to what God has required of us as the Jewish people. And all my life, I think that frustration have brought many questions into my heart. I remember amongst our friends we used to talk about the meaning of life. What is our purpose for all our existence? With trying to keep the law brought a lot of confusion into our life. And that's for most of my life grew up knowing that we cannot keep what our teachers, what our parents taught us to do, and brought even more frustration to us. Later on, I made my mind that I'm going to go overseas and I'm going to travel the world, and whatever will be, will be. I remember while making my plane to go to India, to the Far East, a friend of mine mentioned South Africa. And that's how the plane was born, going to South Africa. And the first week in South Africa, now I don't know anybody in the whole continent of Africa. I don't know anyone. And in South Africa I go, so the first place I go is to find a car, a second-hand car. And I'm going to the first garage that I see, and I go in, and the owner comes out to me and he said, "Can I help you?" And with my broken English, I'm telling him, "Listen, I'm looking for a second-hand car to buy for $1,000. He answered me back in Hebrew, "אתה יכול לדבר עברית?" I mean, you can speak Hebrew. So we talk Hebrew between us. He asked me where I am from. I said, "I'm from Ma'alot." He says, "Wow, I've got a family in Ma'alot. Do you know the Iluz family?" I said, "Which Iluz family?" He said, Chasiba and Eliyahu Iluz. Chasiba? They are my parents. Who are you? He said, "Are you the son of Soya?" "Yes." He came and gave me a hug and he says, "Your grandfather and my grandfathers are brothers." And there I am, meeting a family in middle of nowhere in South Africa. And he introduced me to other Israelis. He introduced me to another guy who sold perfume. So while working, the first client that I went to see, it's my wife to be Marty. She didn't want to buy for me any perfume, but she agreed to come for a coffee. And we having coffee for the past 25 years with 3 kids. 94, I came to the Drakensberg. In the Drakensberg, after all my meeting, I come to a place called Draken Peaks. It's a resort in South Africa, just to find out that there is no accommodation and there is no place to eat. So I park in my car next to a supermarket. It's raining, it's dark, and I'm in my car. I see a man crossing over in front of my car and running towards the supermarket. He opened the supermarket, so quickly I run after him to buy something to eat. But when I get few stuff and I come to pay, the guy asked me, "Are you by any chance Israeli?" Obviously got my accent. I said, "Yes, I'm Israeli." "Are you Jewish?" "Yeah, of course." "What are you doing here?" he says. I explained to him my situation and he said to me, "Israel, it will be an honor and a privilege to have you as my guest." As I go into his house, meeting his wife and his child, I look around me and I see Israelis all around me. I see the flag of Israel, the Magen David in front of the wall. I see Yerushalayim, I see the menorah, I see the Chanukiah, I see more plate of Shalom, and I'm looking and asking, what is it? And he shared with me about his love for the Jewish people, his love for Israel, his love for the God of Israel. And then, yes, his love for the Messiah, Yeshua. the Messiah of Israel. Of course, I jumped. Messiah of Israel? Who? What are you talking about? And he shared with me about Yeshua HaMashiach. Now, the way I grew up, we grew up to hate this name, Yeshua. We grew up to despise Christianity because of all the past. And then he shared with me from the Old Testament, so and I'll be honest with you, in my heart I was cringing, but Jesus was very uncomfortable. I was very uncomfortable with his name. But I was looking outside, it's raining, it's dark. I said to myself in my heart, Israel, you better take this Yeshua, Jesus the Messiah, or otherwise you go outside. And then we talked. We talked more over about his love for Israel, the Jewish people, the Bible. He showed me scripture and so on. We spoke about till 2 o'clock at night, until I said I'm tired. The next morning, we had breakfast, and before I went, he asked me if I can pray for you. You know, for us, as Jewish people, when you ask somebody how to pray, you know, you take a book, and you say, what do you want, you know, about there is a family, health, business, and so on and so on. No, he didn't take any book. He said, can I hold your hand? And he just held my hand. They closed with him and his wife and his child. Jesus closed their eyes and they prayed for me. And surreal, I don't know how to call it, experience, because I never heard somebody praying like this. He prayed for my good. He prayed for my health. He prayed that the Lord will bless me, that the Lord will, for his love, for me. He doesn't even know me. I remember later coming to my wife, Marty, I said to her, Marty, those people have something that belongs to me. You know, I didn't connect all of it to Yeshua, any of that. 6 months later, it was completely, I forgot all about it. But God didn't forget about me. I meet another guy through a business meeting. His name is Peter Felix. I meet the guy, and from business, it turns out again, realizing that I'm Israeli, that I'm Jewish, he turns to talk about God. He turns to talk about Israel, the God of Israel, and yes, you guessed, the Messiah of Israel. And we talked. And again, he also prayed for me. But this time he gave me this Bible. He gave me this Bible that I'm still holding in my hand, the New Testament. He says, can I give you a gift? He gave me the New Testament in Hebrew. It's set next to my bed in one of the shelves there, and I didn't open it. I think it was about a few weeks later when I took the Bible. I said, let's see what those Christians say about the Jewish people. And I was expecting to read their killed the Jews, destroyed the Jews. After all that, the Holocaust, the pogrom, the Inquisition, the Spanish, all this came from the Christian that I knew. An all Hebrew name. I said, what's this? And I'm looking for this Bible and I realize this is a Jewish book. But of course I'm not buying this because I'm looking for where is the hate here for the Jewish people. So I'm looking and I'm going and I'm going. And I don't find anything of that. I found the opposite. Wow, that was interesting. Something of the word of Jesus was like irritated me. I remember in the beginning, I said, who speaks like this? It's like a chutzpah, it's like a chick. Who speaks like this? I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. What is it? And later on, Yeshua was drawing me back to, I don't know, to prove it. Maybe this is rubbish, this is wrong. But more and more read into it, I don't ask who speaks like that, but I said, wow, who speaks like that? I think the word of Yeshua opened like a floodlight into many areas in my life that I couldn't explain, and Yeshua nailed it. The hypocrisy of, and they pray but with no meaning in their heart, with no intention in their heart to change. That was me. That was me. And I read all of this. I start to draw into this book. Let me tell you, I read this book many times, from cover to cover, again and again. Something about this, the New Testament, referring to the Old Testament. In the beginning I thought, oh, they just put it there, it's not really from the Old Testament. And I went to search it, word to word, from the Old Testament. Saying to myself, I wonder what the rabbi think about it. And then actually I believe that my journey started for about almost 2 years of search. The desire to believe in something was so strong, and I thought like, no, I needed to know beyond no shadow of a doubt, even if it makes sense to me. In the intellect it makes sense, my heart makes sense, but I needed to know more than that. And I prayed on my knees, crying to the God of Israel to reveal to me the truth. And the answer came a week later, while one morning I get up in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, to the garden in the back of our house, to open the door and to see creation suddenly take a whole new shape and a new form and a new meaning. I'm looking to the heaven and I cry. I look at the trees, I listen to the birds, the sun just rise up. And it's all made sense to me. Joy have filled my heart out of nowhere. Joy, peace that I never knew. I knew in my heart everything going to be all right. Everything will be all right. I was smiling, I was crying. I didn't know where to put myself, but I knew that. I knew it's because of Yeshua HaMashiach. And that's much later on I realized that morning I was born again. I was washed. I was cleansed. I was filled by God's Spirit. The Holy Spirit filled me up. I couldn't define those words then, but I knew that something happened to me. I have changed. I have found finally peace, joy, rest, hope. But I know for my people Israel, now that's the only hope. It's the hope of all the people of Israel to know their Messiah. There is no other way of peace. There is no other way to have true shalom. It is only in Yeshua HaMashiach.